All right, everyone, buckle up. We're going deep on all the cool new tech coming out in 2025.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, we got a whole stack of articles here. Must-have lists, CES highlights, AI trends. Should be interesting.
Definitely.
So let's jump right in. This best products list of 100 cool tech gadgets is a gold mine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's got everything. Wallets that are like straight out of James Bond, 3D printers. That'll blow your mind.
I'm intrigued.
Okay, so first up, this Exter Parliament wallet. It's got RFID blocking, which is pretty standard these days. But get this, it also has a card ejector. Like, it pops your cards out.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
I know, right? It's the little things.
It seems like a lot of these new gadgets are all about making everyday things a little bit cooler, more high-tech.
Definitely. Like taking something ordinary and giving it a futuristic twist.
Exactly.
Okay, next up is the AnkerMake M5 3D printer. This thing is a beast.
Oh, yeah.
Super fast, prints in multiple materials. Yeah. Imagine businesses prototyping products right in their offices, or like artists creating their sculptures at home.
That's pretty amazing when you think about it. That kind of technology used to be so inaccessible.
Totally. Okay, one more from this list before we move on. The GoPro Hero 13 Black.
GoPro, still going strong.
Oh yeah. This one's got crazy good video quality, insane stabilization, and it can even go underwater without a case.
No way.
Yeah. It's a game changer for adventure junkies like myself.
I can see that. Though, honestly, for most people, just posting videos online, do you really need all that?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's probably overkill for your average cat video.
Probably.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk AI. This Indian Express article highlights some upcoming AI gadgets, and there's one that's really piqued my interest, the Rabbit R1.
Okay, I'm listening.
So it's being touted as this dedicated AI device, like not a smartphone, but a separate device all about AI.
Interesting.
It can record audio, set timers, search the web, stream music, all powered by AI.
Sounds pretty ambitious.
It does, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it could actually replace a smartphone?
That's a tough one. It's definitely pushing the boundaries of what AI can do, but replacing something as versatile as a smartphone, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, it's a tall order.
It is. But it does show how much AI is becoming a part of our lives. Even if it's not replacing our phones, it's offering a different way to interact with technology.
I see what you mean.
Like, maybe it's for people who want a more focused AI experience or who are a little overwhelmed by all the features on a smartphone.
That makes sense.
And then, of course, there's the whole data privacy issue with these AI devices.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The more these devices listen and learn, the more important it becomes to ask who has access to all that data.
Exactly. It's a conversation we need to be having as a society.
Absolutely. Okay, before we get too deep into that rabbit hole, there's another AI gadget I wanted to mention. This one's a bit more down to earth. It's called the BAI wristband.
A wristband.
Yeah, it's super affordable, like $50, and it analyzes your conversations to generate to-do lists. Whoa. I know. I mean, as someone who constantly forgets things, this sounds pretty appealing.
Yeah, but think about it. How accurate could it be?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, conversations can be pretty nuanced.
Exactly. And what if it misinterprets something important?
Right, that's a risk.
It's cool, but I'd need to see it in action before I'd trust it with my to-do list.
Fair enough. Okay, let's step away from the AI world for a bit and go back to that best products list. There are a couple more gadgets that caught my eye.
Go for it.
So, one is the Lofty alarm clock. Now, you know how most alarm clocks are just jarring and unpleasant?
Oh, yeah. I'm not a morning person at all.
Me neither. Well, this Lofty thing uses gentle sounds and light to wake you up more naturally.
That sounds nice.
Right. It's all about making mornings a little less painful.
I'm all for that.
Okay, and the last one for now is the 8 Sleep Pod 4. It's a mattress cover that tracks your sleep and adjusts the temperature throughout the night.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like climate control for your bed.
That's crazy. But honestly, as someone who's always too hot or too cold at night, it kind of sounds amazing.
I know, right? It's like it reads your mind and keeps you perfectly comfortable.
Sign me up.
Okay, let's move on to CES 2025. Always a wild ride. One of the highlights that really grabbed my attention was Sony and Honda's collaboration on an electric car called Afeela.
Sony and Honda. That's an interesting pairing.
It is, right? So this Afeela car is sleek, futuristic looking, and it starts at a cool $89,900.
Wow.
I know. It really shows how the lines between tech companies and car companies are
It's like
blurring.
our phones are becoming our cars, and our cars are becoming our phones.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's this rollable screen laptop that Lenovo showed off.
Rollable screen, like it rolls up.
Yeah. It's pretty mind-blowing. You could have a huge screen when you need it and then just roll it up for portability.
That's wild. What will they think of next?
I know, right? Okay, now for something completely different. CES is also known for its quirky inventions, and there's one I just have to tell you about. That's
Hmm.
called the Tombot Jenny.
Okay, what is it?
It's an emotional support robot dog.
A robot dog.
Yeah, it's designed to provide companionship, especially for people who might not be able to care for a real pet.
Interesting. I wonder how effective it actually is. Can a robot really replace a real animal?
That's a great question. I mean, it definitely raises some ethical considerations about the role of technology in our lives.
It does. And it makes you wonder what other kinds of unexpected uses we'll find for robots in the future.
For sure. And that's just scratching the surface of what we've uncovered about the tech trends coming in 2025. Stay with us, because in our next segment, we'll be diving into even more fascinating inventions, from solar-powered cars to health-tracking mirrors, and we'll discuss what it all means for you and the future we're shaping together. Don't go anywhere.
All right, so where were we? Yes, more cool gadgets from CES.
You know it. And CES wouldn't be CES without some truly out-there inventions.
Right, like things that make you wonder, who thought of that?
Exactly. And this one from the Indian Express article definitely fits the bill. It's called the Nekoshita Fufu.
The what?
The Nekoshita Fufu. It's this little robot that blows on your hot food to cool it down.
Wait, seriously? A robot that blows on your food?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's helpful if you're impatient, but it's not exactly a life-changing invention.
It's kind of like the ultimate first world problem solver.
Totally. And speaking of quirky inventions, the article also mentioned something called walking furniture.
Walking furniture. What, like a couch that strolls around the living room?
Pretty much. It's called the Mimo, and it's a lamp that can actually move around.
I'm not sure I understand the point of that, but hey, it's definitely unique.
Maybe it's for people who like to rearrange their furniture a lot.
Or maybe it's for people who are just afraid of the dark.
Could be. Okay, let's get a bit more serious for a moment and talk about data privacy.
Ah, yes. The elephant in the room.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of all these new gadgets, but we can't forget about the potential downsides.
Right, like who's collecting all this data about our lives and what are they doing with it?
Exactly. It's not just about social media anymore. It's our smart homes, our cars, our fitness trackers, everything.
And with AI becoming more and more prevalent, the amount of data these devices can collect is only going to increase.
It's a bit scary when you think about it.
It is. We need to be aware of the risks and make sure we're taking steps to protect our privacy.
Absolutely. Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about something a little more fun.
Sounds good to me.
So I'm a big fan of classic gadgets, things that never go out of style.
Oh, yeah, I get that. There's something about the simplicity of analog devices that's really appealing.
Exactly. And you know what? The best products list actually included a few analog things.
Really?
Yeah, like this bolt-action pen made of titanium. It's got this super satisfying clicking mechanism.
That sounds kind of cool. I can see the appeal of that.
I know, right? Like a fidget toy for adults.
Totally. Speaking of things that make life a little better, I noticed the best products list also highlighted some gadgets focused on sleep.
Oh, yeah, like that 8 Sleep Pod 4 we talked about earlier. But there was another one that caught my eye. It's the Troubadour Apex Backpack 3.0.
Backpack for sleep.
Well, not directly, but it's all about organization and efficiency, which can definitely lead to a less stressful life and better sleep.
I can see that. Having a place for everything definitely reduces my stress levels.
Right, and this backpack is super functional with compartments for all your gear, and it's made from sustainable materials.
That's a nice bonus. Okay, back to CES for a moment. The Indian Express article mentioned a solar-powered car that supposedly never needs to be charged.
I know. It sounds crazy, right? It's called the Aptera, and it's covered in solar panels.
So it actually runs on sunshine.
Pretty much. For short trips, you might not even need to plug it in. And for longer distances, it has a battery you can charge.
Wow. If that technology really works, it could be a game changer for the EV industry.
Totally. And it would be a huge win for the environment.
Absolutely. Okay, one last CES gadget that I'm curious about. The Withings Omnia, the health scanning mirror.
Oh, yeah, that one sounds a bit intense.
It does, right. Like, do we really need another device telling us to eat our vegetables and exercise more?
Well, it actually does a lot more than that. It uses sensors and cameras to scan your body and provide all sorts of health data.
Like what?
Heart rate, lung function, sleep quality, even your posture.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. It's like a full body checkup in your own bathroom.
Exactly. And it can be really empowering to have access to all that information.
I see your point. Okay, enough about CES for now. Let's talk about the new Samsung Galaxy S25 series.
Oh yeah, that Technical Guruji YouTube video gave us a good look at what's
It
coming.
looks like Samsung is sticking to its classic formula: sleek design, powerful specs, amazing cameras.
And that 200 megapixel camera on the S25 Ultra is insane.
It is pretty mind-blowing. I'm curious to see how it actually performs in real-world conditions.
Me too. And they're introducing a new magnetic charging system that's supposed to be much more efficient.
That's a welcome improvement. Wireless charging can be a bit finicky sometimes.
Totally. And of course, there's the whole chip debate. Snapdragon versus Exynos.
Ah, yes, the eternal struggle. It'll be interesting to see which chip performs better in the S25 series.
For sure. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. What are some of the biggest takeaways that have resonated with you?
I think the sheer speed of innovation is mind-boggling. It seems like every year there's a whole new wave of gadgets and technologies that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's definitely a lot to keep up with.
It is, but it's also exciting to think about how these advancements could shape the future.
Absolutely. And speaking of the future, what do you think are some of the most important things to keep in mind as technology continues to evolve?
Well, as we've discussed, data privacy is a huge concern. We need to be mindful of how much information we're sharing and who has access to it.
Right. And we also need to think about the ethical implications of these technologies.
Exactly. It's not just about creating cool gadgets. It's
Hmm.
about using technology to solve real-world problems and make the world a better place.
Well said. And I think it's important to remember that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of technology. It's not just up to the tech companies. We, as consumers, have a voice too.
Absolutely. We can choose which technologies we support, and we can demand that these technologies are developed responsibly and ethically.
Great points. Now, before we move on to our final thoughts, there's one more trend I wanted to touch on. It's the growing interest in analog devices and experiences.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that earlier. There's something to be said for the simplicity and timelessness of a well-crafted analog gadget.
Right. It's like a counterbalance to the digital overload we experience every day. And it reminds us that technology doesn't always have to be complicated or flashy to be enjoyable.
It's about finding those things that bring us joy and enhance our lives, whether they're digital or analog.
Exactly. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this segment. What are some of the final thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Wow, we've covered some serious ground here. AI, robots, solar-powered cars, even a health scanning mirror. The future is coming at us fast.
It really is. So before we sign off, any big takeaways that have stuck with you?
I think what's striking me is how much tech is becoming about like us. It's not just about cool features anymore. It's about personalizing the experience.
Yeah.
AI that learns what you like, gadgets that adapt to you.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like tech is becoming more intuitive, more in tune with our individual needs.
Exactly. But that brings up some questions too, right? Like how much do we want these devices to know about us? Where's the line between personalization and, well, privacy?
For sure. And that's something we talked about a lot today. The more connected we become, the more important it is to think about the ethical side of things. Data privacy, responsible AI development, all that.
Absolutely. It's like we can't just be dazzled by the shiny new gadgets. We have to think about the bigger picture, you know? What kind of future are we creating with all this tech?
Well said. So let's bring it back to our listeners.
Mhm.
What do you think all this means for the average person? How might these trends actually impact our day-to-day lives?
I think we're going to see AI become even more integrated into everything. Like imagine AI assistants that can handle even more tasks, smart homes that practically run themselves.
It's like that sci-fi future we've always imagined is finally starting to arrive.
It is, but it also means we need to be adaptable, right? We need to keep learning and evolving as the technology changes.
Definitely. It's not just about knowing how to use the tech. It's about understanding how it works, how it impacts us, and how we can use it responsibly.
I think that's the key takeaway, really. Technology is a tool, a powerful one, but it's up to us to decide how to use it. We shape the future of tech by the choices we make today.
That's a great way to put it. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
Don't be afraid to ask questions, to be curious, to be a little skeptical even. Tech is exciting, but it's also complex. The more we understand it, the better equipped we are to use it wisely and create a future that benefits everyone.
Beautifully said. And for our listeners, I just want to add, keep exploring, keep learning, And most importantly, keep imagining. The future of tech is wide open, and it's up to all of us to make it something truly remarkable.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive, folks. Thanks for joining us on this whirlwind tour of the tech landscape. Until next time.